Rain pressed the city flat, turning glass towers into dim lanterns. Marcus Reed stood in the shadow of a service stair across from a café, collar up, paper cup warming his hand. He watched the window's reflection more than the street, safer that way. Inside, two men leaned over untouched espresso. Routine meet. Routine cover. Routine lie. Pulse details. Wedding band. Cheap. Mil-spec knockoff watch. Left shoulder guarding. The courier's raincoat hung too light for a payload. The collector's smile never reached his eyes. In Marcus's ear. Check-in. Visual confirmed. Confirmed, he said. No third party. No tail. It still itched. The weight was wrong. The collector slid an envelope across. The courier didn't touch it. His gaze flicked left, then down. Marcus followed it to a spoon's reflection. Two long coats at the back, metal glint just out of sight. New players, Marcus breathed. 6 and 8 o'clock. Copy, the voice replied, too calm. The courier rose without the envelope. The collector's hand caught his wrist. The long coats moved together. Air popped. Porcelain shattered. Someone shouted. The collector stepped aside as the courier folded to the floor, clutching nothing. Marcus pushed through the door. Police! He barked, flashing the theatrical badge the agency issued for moments like this. Hands! The room froze. The long coats didn't. Marcus hooked an elbow, twisted a forearm to the spine. The second drew. Marcus shoved his captive into the line. A suppressed round tugged his coat. He smashed the pinned wrist against a brass rail until the pistol clattered, then booted it under a table. Sirens approached. The second shooter vanished through the kitchen. The collector ghosted past, cologne sharp, smile small, gone. Who sent you? Marcus hissed. No answer. A watch vibrated. The man's expression went calmly fatalistic. Marcus hauled him outside, and stopped. Two vehicles idled nose to tail, hazards blinking polite apology. The driver of the first wore a uniform that implied government without stating any. Clipboard raised. The driver scanned the sidewalk, met Marcus's eyes, and tapped his earpiece twice. A code. A warning. Or a mark. Marcus shoved his prisoner toward the clipboard and cut left into the service corridor. His earpiece crackled. Stand down, Reed. Local units assume jurisdiction. Debrief at the annex. Copy, he lied, and flicked the earpiece into a storm drain. The corridor stank of hot grease and rain. He traded sidewalks for basements, basements for a passage that fed the riverwalk. His phone buzzed, a number he'd set to never ring. Lock screen, a single text, no punctuation, just a location and a time, very soon. A place with nothing to do with the case and everything to do with the life he kept separate. Emma. Don't run. Running attracts eyes. He crossed to the river with the practiced indifference of someone who belonged. A patrol RIB carved the gray water. Cameras watched from poles like unblinking insects. The city equated visibility with safety. That illusion was part of the design. Near the commuter pier, he mapped the report that would be written without him. Undefined suspects collected by local units. A sealed file fatality in a café. Camera outages exactly when a certain face should have crossed a lens. He'd seen this choreography. A woman eased into step beside him before the turnstiles. She didn't look up. You're off script, she said. Elena, he answered. I didn't invite you. You never do. In the plexi shield her reflection smiled without humor. Your courier died on schedule. You weren't supposed to be inside. Someone moved the clock, Marcus said. Someone with keys. That's a short list. She passed a transit card like a stranger helping a stranger. He tapped them both through. You're burned, she added. By whom? Whom is the point? I don't have it yet. They dropped to the platform in the warm roar of the underground. Also, your private life isn't private. What do you have? Localized outages on municipal cams in multiple cities, Elena said. Not random. Rings of silence, then back online. Your meat sits in 3. So the cafe was a node. It's always broader, she said. But here's what's narrow you. Someone tagged you to on-scene a clean ledger, then arranged a polite pickup. If you'd surrendered your man, your paperwork would have carried just enough chlorine to bleach the blood. So I'm the disinfectant. Or the drain. A train slid in. They took the vestibule. Marcus watched the window's ghost version of himself, a professional who had mastered invisibility now dragged into light. Elena looked relaxed. Her eyes didn't. She bumped his sleeve. A wafer-thin drive rode his coat pocket. You'll want that later. What is it? The part where I'm useful. Also, avoid the annex. I wasn't going. Good, because the team waiting isn't yours. He closed his eyes, envelope that never moved, coat that hung too light, the collector's cologne smile, the watch humming, the polite vehicles. The report writing itself in blue-white officialese, ending in a sinkhole where a person used to be. I need to make a call. Make none, Elena said. Old school now. Market. River. Head below cameras, above the waterline. And Emma. Elena finally met his eyes. Move like a hero and they'll use her to teach you humility. Move like a professional and you might get ahead. The train decelerated. Doors sighed open. Coffee and rain rode the air. Marcus stepped out and let the crowd swallow him cleanly, a coin palmed by a magician, gone to anyone not looking for the trick. The safe place wasn't safe, which was why it worked. Elena led Marcus through the back of a fishmonger's stall, up a metal stair that shook like an old drum, and into a dark room that smelled faintly of printer's ink. A retired offset press crouched in the corner like a dinosaur skeleton. Over it, blackout curtains cut the city into silence. Welcome to my monastery, Elena said, snapping on a red utility lamp. No Wi-Fi. No smart anything. If it blinks, we blindfold it. She slid a Faraday pouch onto a steel table and nodded at his coat pocket. Marcus produced the wafer drive. It was thin enough to forget, heavy enough to matter. We air gap, she said, already moving. She opened a drawer and laid out an old carbon-scored laptop, a nest of cables, and a pistol he hadn't seen her take out. If we hear sirens, we walk through the front like we're late for the auction of a tuna. You always this reassuring? Only when I'm right. They worked in rhythm, curtains checked, floorboard vent open to swallow their phones, laptop booted into a sterile environment with no history and no future. Elena's fingers were fast, her face calm in the red light. Marcus watched the window's edge for any fracture of shadow, any hint of company. The wafer mounted. A directory tree appeared, innocent names that pointed to criminal intent. Municipal maintenance schedules, CCTV diagnostics, emergency services routing tables. Elena drilled 3 layers down and stopped. There, she whispered. The screen showed a ring map of the city with gaps like bite marks around key intersections and government buildings. Each gap had a timestamp. Beneath the map, a small text file listed 15 other cities, the same rings, the same times, rolling in precise waves. Rings of silence, Marcus said. Like you said. Elena brought up a second panel, incident reports stitched from public feeds and scraped records. She pinned them against his own surveillance summaries, quietly mirrored from his secure drive when he still believed the system kept faith. Lines connected to lines. Time windows overlapped. The pattern drew itself without mercy. Within 72 hours of his reports, the person of interest either disappeared into a sealed investigation or died in an unpreventable accident. 21 times in 8 months. Different cities. Different pretexts. One rhythm. Heat rose in his face, followed by a widening hollow. I marked them, he said. I did the scouting shots. You were never the only input, Elena said. But yes, you were the cleanest. They scrolled further, internal memos from a bland-sounding committee about contingency posture, bulk purchases of temporary barriers, contracts for simulated mass casualty coordination drills that didn't appear on any public calendar. Cowardly language. Marching intent. Show me Emma, he said. Elena filtered to a quiet northwest neighborhood. A school's perimeter lights pulsed on the schematic, Tomorrow, the next night, the next. Small rings on and off like a finger-tapping glass. They're probing routine, Elena said. Bus drop-offs, evening classes, the path she uses when it rains. He swayed. Barely. Don't be the story, she said softly. Make the story. He breathed like a swimmer looking at deep water. Okay. What's the path that wins? 2 tracks, she said. Track 1, public, a timed data drop, just the right 10 pages. Track 2, surgical. Cut the spine that coordinates these rings. Boardroom to boat, boat to tunnels. We need muscle, Marcus said. And mobility. I know a man who hates owing me. Ex-military. Quiet. He can get us through doors. Vouched. By me. Rules, Marcus said. Now, before we're late. They set dead drops. 1 virtual, a live check hash every 6 hours. 1 physical, behind the city atlases, tilted equals run. Comms discipline. No calls. If voice, payphones plus the wrong day of the week. Countersign. Answer with a holiday that doesn't exist to break contact. Transport. Unremarkable. They sketched the office and the waterfront. Freight route, server closet, satcom dome, pier blind spot. Cut the right fiber and the yacht would go deaf. For Emma. Watch, shadow, never touch. They packed with care. Elena gave Marcus a brass key. Front door to vanish for an hour. Blue bin food, white bin water. And if you freeze, say, west wind. It's stupid. It works. They walked out as civilians and parted in the alley. 2 strangers with errands. On the way to the library, Marcus rehearsed the pact until it felt like a bone set right. He tilted the atlas and kept walking. They met David Chen in a parking structure that hummed like an empty fridge. Concrete sweated. A sodium lamp turned them the color of a bad dream. Chen rolled in with a dented hatchback, stayed in the driver's seat, clocked Marcus in the rearview, and smiled without showing teeth. Coiled spring. Businesslike shake. Elena said you were tall, Chen said. She exaggerates, Marcus said. She never exaggerates, Chen said, getting out. Pay and pain the same number? Closer than either of us will like, Elena said. We need doors opened and time bought. What are we breaking? He asked. Not breaking, Marcus said. Separating. An office spine that tells a boat what to tell the tunnels. Elena laid out the map. Committee office near the river, nightly deliveries. A moored yacht with a satcom dome whispering into ground instead of sky. 2 cameras, 1 blind spot. A control chain to turn rings of silence into something worse. Covers? Chin asked. Office, elevator inspectors. Waterfront, Marina maintenance, Elena said, producing credentials that would pass a casual stare and give a careful one a headache. Timing. Tonight we scout. Tomorrow rehearse. Day after we commit. Public drop hits mid-infiltration. Too late to quietly intercept. Too early to ignore. Start at the office, Chin said. They're lazier before midnight. The river tower wore anonymity like cologne. Most people smelled nothing. Professionals smelled intent. Lobby guard, visitor badges, elevator, tool belt, rolling case, calibration. Routine quarterly, Elena told the guard. Weary contractor voice. Freight door interlock chatter. If it fails, nothing moves. Then someone above my pay grade calls you. Relieved, the guard buzzed them into the beige-tiled spine. Freight doors breathed. Elena popped a panel and murmured lies about thresholds. Marcus noted cameras blind to a door behind a hose reel. The closet wanted a badge. Elena's reader hummed once, twice. On the 3rd kiss, green. Inside, warm dust, half-peeled labels. A fiber patch panel with dark loops like lazy shoelaces. Console here, Elena said, tapping a pizza box server labeled property of building services. Chatting with a subnet no one admits exists. Talk back, Chin asked. Not tonight. Tonight we learn. Marcus traced fiber into a floor conduit. Boat gets orders here. Cut correctly and it becomes a dinner party. with no dinner. They closed the panel, screws in their old scrape marks. In the lobby, Elena scolded her imaginary assistant. The guard offered them a mint. Wind off the river smelled like metal. The Marina slept with one eye open. Dock lights jittered on black water. The yacht had the understatement of serious money. Glossy hull, no name, monochrome crew doing nothing fast. Maintenance audit, Elena sang to the dockman. Insurance compliance. He waved them through. They walked the pier, pointed at corrosion no one else saw. Marcus counted cameras. Chen counted exits. Elena counted heartbeats. Third piling, a perfect sickle of shadow. Chen opened a pier panel. City fiber bundled and labeled like holiday gifts. One small splice case piggybacked with heat shrink the wrong color. Dome's alive, Elena murmured, scanning. Not chattering to orbit. Kissing local. Boom. Chen asked, bored. Quiet, Marcus said. Tonight, catalog. They memorized splice and runs, then drifted off harmless. Back at the car, Chen revealed a tidy altar of utility. Pole, cutters, harness, gloves. Elena added 2 dumb cameras for chain of custody. Public drop hits mid-infiltration, she said. Security will either lock down or run to phones. Either way, we get a gap. Signals. Chen asked. Holiday means abort office, go water, Marcus said. West wind buys 60 seconds. Mint means you found a friendly guard, we leave him friendly. They rehearsed on feet and breath, then ended with trucker coffee. We don't have to be good, Marcus said. Just better than them for 20 minutes. Outside, the rain decided to start over. The city smelled like it believed it. The city held its breath. Marcus and Elena crossed the lobby. The guard remembered them and returned to his crossword. Same problem. Door interlock won't learn to love me, Elena said. Buzz. Freight corridor. Beige spine. Camera that worshipped the loading dock. Wedge in the closet door. Third kiss. Green. Inside, warm dust. Negligent labels. Clock starts, Marcus said. 3 minutes. They worked like surgeons. Elena seated a dumb camera on the rack. Marcus shot labels and traced the lazy loop into the floor. Console cable seated. The orphan subnet announced itself. Alive, undocumented, improperly fenced. Talk or ghost? Ghost. Log spilled. Maintenance pings tagged Marina AUX-03. Timing tables for urban coordination drills. A command set called Aurora with flags that toggled camera rings like metronomes. Elena's watch clicked. 90 seconds. Across the river, the yacht slept. Chen crouched in the sickle shadow, pole half extended. J-hook under the satcom domes tab. Gentle pull. The panel gaped like a mouth. Hello, he said, lifting the insulated cutter. In the closet, Elena capped the drive. We have it. Good. Now we. Her dumb phone vibrated once. The midpoint alert. Elena thumbed the trigger on her watch. Somewhere, 10 pages unspooled into a dozen inboxes. Oversight, reporters, lawyers. Ring maps for 3 cities. Procurement trail. Predictably accepting. Waves out, she said. We surf or drown. The corridor coughed. Chen's voice hit the emergency push-to-talk. Mint at gangway. Then a flat male voice, practiced at giving nothing away. Mr. Reed. You're very busy tonight. The sound came from an old intercom above the hose reel. A video rectangle bloomed at the top of the rack. Emma on a bench in a well-lit corridor, a uniformed woman with a clipboard, kindness weaponized. She's not under arrest, the voice said. She is helping. Marcus kept his face still. Pull the mirror, he said to Elena. We're done. Smart, the voice purred. Now come upstairs. Bring the drive. Help us keep this calm. Or your person of interest learns to be helpful in a different way. They're already in the building, Elena whispered. West wind. Break the loop. Cable out, coiled as found. Bevel wiped. Screws reseated. Door settled with bureaucratic softness. Plan. Split the split, Marcus said. You go river and burn their tongue. I go up and bite their hand. She tucked the drive into the rolling case false bottom and rolled. Marcus turned toward the lobby. Chen, cut on my word. Say the holiday. The lobby. Crossword guard displaced by 2 suits, bland briefcase, a third man watching the elevators. Civility everywhere. Elena slipped through the service door and vanished. Marcus stepped out. You wanted me? The watcher pivoted, scar on his throat, smile thin. Mr. Reed. Thank you for being reasonable. Reasonable is expensive. Then let's pay. The briefcase opened, a tiny printer, signature pad, plastic sleeve. You sign, we shelve. It goes back to sleep. I've never seen sleep look so awake. At the river, Elena drifted into the blind shadow. Chen handed her the pole. Holiday. Not yet. Breathe. Lobby's fine, Marcus said. I like witnesses. We prefer friends, the watcher said. Your stunt frightens people. Panic is contagious. We vaccinate. By making them blind? By sparing them the sight, he said, the architect's cadence. Engineered order as mercy. Emma on the bench in Marcus's head. Helpfulness sharpened into threat. Holiday, he said, casual as ordering tea. 2 beats, 2 moves. At the pier, the cutter bit the wrong-colored splice. The dome went suddenly quiet. In the closet 3 floors down, an orphaned subnet lost its friend and pinged emptiness. In the lobby, screens flickered. The tiny printer spat nonsense. Radio coughed static. The watcher's smile narrowed. Unfortunate. Predictable. Now privacy, he said, and shepherded Marcus into a glassed AUX office with a kindly plant and a second camera. While we're honest, Marcus said, looking at the lens, you need my clearance for something you can't close without me. Silence. Crackle. Come upstairs, the flat voice said, less pleased. Certainly, Marcus said. With company. At the river, Elena clicked the panel home. Deaf. Deaf. Then we go be loud. They took him upstairs by going down. A side elevator masked as storage. Brass panel, logo-less card, decade-old switch. The cab dropped through levels that didn't exist on fire plans. When the doors parted, server room cold. Poured concrete, red strips, wire-meshed glass doors. Behind one, an amphitheater of consoles stepping to a central dais with a ring of stainless around a column of hardened glass. The man at the dais looked ordinary like a hidden blade. Mr. Reed, he said. Call me architect. It flatters my team. Rings pulsed across maps, except where circles hesitated, the waterfront tongue cut. A countdown ticked, camera rings, traffic overrides, drills collapsing into real emergencies. Backups requeued and choked. You'll need me, Marcus said. Yes, the architect said, almost tender. Your biometric aborts the visible, resets the narrative, and we proceed calmer, slower, as saviors. Press your thumb. Save them. Where is she? Marcus asked. A screen, Emma on the bench, kindness in pairs. Help me keep the public calm, and you'll be home before breakfast. Show me the abort screen, Marcus said. The architect cued the pedestal. 2 tokens required. He placed his palm. 1 accepted. Blue light waited for the second. A soft scrape on the catwalk. House lights dimmed an inch. Power management event, the architect murmured. Somewhere, a relay thunked. A generator coughed. Polite white became emergency red, the color that makes muscles move before thought. Marcus moved. He yanked the pedestal rim. Stainless flexed, the biometric lens misaligned. Alert bleat. 2 guards reached. Marcus turned one wrist into the other guard's throat, booted a knee, stepped inside a punch and hammered with his shoulder. The watcher vanished into cover. West wind, Elena whispered in his ear. I'll buy you 60. Up top, Chen did something impolite with a live tie and a ground. UPS held, HVAC tripped, positive pressure secrets faltered. This place had chosen failsafe for air and egress. A hiss like a rumor, seals relaxing, doors deciding to be doors. Elena moved along the upper row, placed a stuttering LED flash, red strobed like a judgment day. Guards lost balance and place. The architect stepped back from the pedestal and learned. You think breaking equals fixing. I think hidden equals infection, Marcus said, climbing the dais. He pressed his badge, not his thumb, to wake an admin menu a paranoid engineer would leave for offline service. Audit, maintenance, purge. Don't, the architect said, sharp, first time. 2 keys, Marcus said. You can't stop inventory. He chose audit. Screens filled, graphs of rings socialized into life, contracts queued to move money to friends, drill requests signed by a committee that never taped meetings. He hit broadcast to redundant outputs. Consoles disgorged receipts. Wall panels listed innocuous names for malicious modes. Numbers harder to gerrymander in real time. Abort, the architect said, voice thin. Or kindness ends. Elena answered from the upper row. She's leaving. The door that loved her captor loves air more. A feed showed Emma's corridor. Maglock clacked. Green flashed. A uniform chose to be human. Sweetheart, run. Emma ran. A plug yanked. The feed died. The architect exhaled. Model revising. Abort, he said, softer. Marcus imagined pressing his thumb and giving the architect a suit of narrative. He imagined going home with silence that would sour by morning. He chose purge volatile tables. The pedestal asked for his token. He gave it. Rings slumped and died. Queued overrides dumped. Aurora, starved and spat upon, spun down. Not silent, UPS whined, siren tried, but the architecture of menace sagged. Countdown replaced by a blinking cursor with no story. You've made your point, the architect said. Now be useful. I am, Marcus said, hitting open all non-critical doors. Panels blinked across the facility and the building above. Elsewhere, newsrooms filled homepages. The crossword guard reconsidered his career. The watcher dropped from the catwalk toward Marcus's ribs and met Chen halfway. Chen chose inelegant physics. Take balance, take air, let gravity do the sermon. Elena joined Marcus on the dais, filmed in sweat, eyes sharp. We're done. Almost. Export audit. Progress bar crawled. A small printer tried to be noble. You think exposure is disinfectant, the architect said, almost kind. Tomorrow they ask for order. They build me again with fewer screws showing. Maybe, Marcus said. Tonight they see the screws. Boots pounded, real uniforms. Hands raised. Cameras watched. Marcus raised his hands and kept his eyes open. The bunker emptied like a lung. Alarms sulked. White light returned. Uniforms flowed in, commands, body cams. The architect held his hands half raised, a man performing compliance. A square-jawed sergeant with an unscuffed conscience took control. He refused to be impressed by acronyms and looked at the blinking audit instead. Who's in charge? He asked. Not him, Marcus said. You're coming with us, the sergeant answered to both. Hands where they belong. They were separated without theater. Chen accepted zip ties like a craftsman respecting a tool. Elena offered her palms and a polite smile. The watcher with the scar coughed pink into his sleeve and glared at the floor. Upstairs, the lobby looked smaller by daylight and crowd. The crossword guard sat like a man who had watched a magic trick and hated knowing the secret. Outside, rain-washed streets and too many sirens. In the transport van, vinyl, coffee, worry, the architect spoke softly. This will be loud, then quiet. The public enjoys noise, then begs for silence. We sell both. Today they get neither, Marcus said. Processing happened in glass and reputation. Statement recorded. Hands photographed. Badge confiscated with flagfold reverence. Lawyers arrived like weather fronts. Elena asked for water and got it. Chin asked for a phone call and didn't take it. By noon, the data drop detonated into daylight. Oversight chairs issued careful expressions. Anchors used solemn voices. A still of the Aurora audit leaked and ran everywhere. Coup never appeared. Unprecedented irregularities did. By 2, the architect had a lawyer, a haircut, and a narrative. He called himself a victim of overzealous subordinates. Praised dedicated colleagues who had identified a systems error. He didn't mention Emma. He didn't say Marcus's name. He looked into cameras with the confidence of a man who had memorized how to be believed. By 4, investigators found what Marcus ensured they would, a complete, clock-signed audit mirrored to redundant storage and authenticated by checksums too boring to fake on deadline. The documents didn't accuse, they described. Description can be merciful, accusation becomes unnecessary. At dusk, an official with a perfectly pinned tie offered Marcus the easy door. Walk out tonight. Quietly. We'll call it a misunderstanding amplified by social media. Your access restored pending review. Help us make it right. Make what right? Marcus asked. The panic. The gaps. Loss of confidence. The gaps you designed, Marcus said. You miscalculated the cost. You miscalculated the public, the official said. They frighten easily. They punish their protectors. I didn't ask to be protected, Marcus said. I asked to be told the truth. This is how the country survives, the official insisted. We manage outcomes. We wash the blood so the image is clean. Ugly work. We prefer people like you to do it. I prefer people like me to say no. A last offer, come back inside, relocation for a person of interest, anonymity. In 6 months no one remembers. That's the problem, Marcus said. People should remember. Elena and Chen were released minutes after. Evening felt washed and new. Dangerous. In a quiet square, pigeons performed for a child who believed he directed them. You're supposed to take the deal, Elena said. I can't afford it, Marcus said. They'll build again, Chen said. They always do, Marcus said. We'll make them use clearer screws. Elena handed him a new phone in a box. Number isn't in anything. He didn't open it. Some tools are better unused until they matter. Go home, Chen said. You don't die when you leave. I thought your religion was long walks. Tonight I convert, Chen said, and vanished into the ordinary crowd. Elena lingered. Streetlights came on in a soft chain. Vigilance doesn't clock out, she said. But it needs sleep. Be human. Thank you, he said. Don't get sentimental. We have work later. Don't be greedy, she said, walking. He let a new street carry him to a door that needed a key he hadn't used in 2 days. Emma opened it before he could knock, eyes red at the corners, bravery winning. You left a message, she said. In the old way. I wasn't sure it would find you. It did. She let him in. They didn't talk for a while. Silence is a bomb when it isn't a lie. They sat at the small kitchen table with the plant she never managed to keep alive and always replaced. I won't tell you everything, he said. Not because I don't trust you. Because I won't use you like that. I don't want everything, she said. I want you to stop before you cross the line you can't cross back from. I made rules, he said. I'll keep them. Good. If you don't, I'll remind you. Sirens thinned to normal. Somewhere, an anchor moved on to weather. Are you going back? She asked. Not inside. Not like that. What then? Something between, he said. Where the public can see me when it counts and not at all when it doesn't. Where I can push truth without asking permission from people who profit when it breaks. Be careful with your words, she said. You live in them. I'll build them like bridges, not cages. They ate something small. He washed the dishes, The day needed a task with an end. Late enough that the city felt grateful for sleep, he walked to the river. Water wrote its endless letter to stone. Marina lights made thin roads on black. The new phone weighed like a promise he hadn't made yet. He removed the SIM tray, looked at it, and put it back empty. Some lines are better drawn than dialed. A figure joined him, Elena, ghosting like only a friend can. "Tomorrow?" she asked. "Tomorrow. What do you want it to be?" He thought of screws seen and unseen, of doors choosing air, of a child commanding pigeons with sovereign joy. "Messy," he said. "And honest." She bumped his shoulder and disappeared again. Marcus watched the river until the lights cut themselves into smaller pieces and the city forgot to be loud. Then he turned away and walked toward a life that would not be simple, and would, for that reason, be true.